So long, Margaret. Jenna, you on?
Yeah. Do you want me to start right now?
Get started.
Okay.
Well, I guess we did.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to do that? It's like rabbit.
I was just like, he's been busy working.
Oh, yeah.
Planting season, I'm sure. We begin this meeting by acknowledging the land on which we gather is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe peoples. Many of whom continue to live and work here today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the land protected by the Dish One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this gathering place is home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. And acknowledging reminds us that our great standard of living is directly related to the resources and friendship of Indigenous people.
Yeah. Do we have any declarations of interest? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Let's get a motion for the approval of previous. Then start. All right, first off, Byron, can I get an update on the financials?
I do not currently have one. I do.
I think we're in your package they gave you.
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't actually reviewed them against the system.
Rachel, any updates on it?
It's more just if there's any questions. So this is updated as of May. So everything's fairly self-explanatory, hasn't changed too much. We are kind of on track for most of the things that are maybe over a little bit for things that have already previously been explained, like meeting, like what the infrastructure, our AGM one-time cost, and maybe provide a safety meeting. So those are the main things.
Can I get the motion to financials as presented? I guess in the case onto an events update. Since Sarah isn't here, Rachel, are you able to speak specifically to Halloween?
Yeah, absolutely. So just so everybody verbally was on Saturday, it was a huge success. So I have to start by saying thank you to Josh for coming out. We really appreciate your support and your help with tear down and everything else. And I think on the Friday night you helped as well. We saw a number of our members out enjoying it, which was to me really lovely to see. Tons of positive feedback. I'm going to give you some preliminary numbers and then I'm going to pass it to Katie for some others. So just to give you an idea, this is our second year. The first year we sold 232 admissions. This year we maxed out at over 1,000.
What? People that work in our we're talking about.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We just some other quick examples. We had prepaid admission for something. So for example, paint color. Last year we sold 47 prepaid paint color packages for the day. This year we sold over 200.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, congratulations, everyone. Goodness.
We also last year we had one sponsor. This year we have 4 sponsors. So this event brought in, it did not cost us money, and the feedback that we got is tremendous. The impact on the community, and I'm gonna pass to Katie to add.
Yeah. Some stats that Kat shared with me. So the reach across all of our platforms for all of we did 9 posts, right? That was takeover, yeah, right. 110,000 reach. So that's not just people like it showing up in their feed. It's like people who like.
So impressions is how many times
it was
something, whereas how many people
like individual unique people showed up on their platforms. And then with that 7,803 engagements on these posts, which means that people liking or commenting or sharing or posting their story or something like that. So that's really incredible, that ratio between reach and engagements. Just covered by both Daily, Tagger This Week, and Standard. A radio interview, out of towners attended, so they had feedback that people from Hamilton and South London came to downtown St. Catharines specifically for this event. received over 52 positive comments on social. I realized I can't share in the Zoom chat, so I don't know if you want to like pop those up on the screen, some of them.
They're, not.
I'll read some of them.
Not it, so.
I will do that. So first one, looks like a lot of fun, and the event continues so we can attend when my tots are old enough. Downtown was pedestrian, like, look like it's every weekend. Looks like we made some time, definitely stopping by next year, like just lots of stuff that's very positive. What else? Cat got to do the takeover on the Festival and Events of Ontario Instagram, which we're also gonna get to do for Block Party and Halloween Party.
Sorry, just for, we didn't get Block Party, but we got Halloween and Great Wine.
Great wine, sorry. And one of the posts from Molly is their top performing post ever, which is really cool because it also just happened. And yeah.
And I will just add, so if everybody knows not to brag or like put others down, don't know if anybody's familiar with the Burlington County Music Festival. Our folks outperformed Burlington County Music Festival on Festival Night, sorry. So that's huge volumes, because that event brings in hundreds of thousands of people over 4 days. Our event was a 1-day initiative. So really huge, huge impact. There is a copy as well as a chat we had through social from another organization focused in Niagara. So like I said, really great traction, really positive feedback. Kat, I don't know if you're able to share a video or two of some of the day.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It was amazing. I do
Yeah.
have a couple questions.
Yeah, so I went to a River Lions game that night, and so I totally, and so a friend of mine drove by, and she's like, what's going on? She didn't know what it was. Is there any way that there could have been like a signage? She didn't, like, she wasn't sure, like, was it a pride event? Was it a holy event? Either way, it was great, but she was like, what is it?
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, it's this, just because I was able to realize.
right. And we did have a ton of signage, but probably not by car. So maybe for next time, we could look at doing like a bigger signage right at the end of each of the road closure areas to say Holy Festival.
Cause that might even trigger like, oh my gosh, I gotta look for next year. I didn't realize they had that or something. And then another thing is walking downtown, I saw a lot of people white shirts and you could see a lot. Right? Yeah, like the after event.
I mean, it shows, the page.
It shows the paint is perfect, but I was just wondering, like, there's no other color you can really use. Is that typically what color they would use?
It is, and
Okay.
yeah, and that's.
And then you see them all rosing each other down. Okay, I mean, that's fun. But anyways, all together, it looked amazing, and I would love to.
It definitely got a lot of people, like, as I was walking down several times towards Carlisle, a lot of people on the patios were like, what's going on? And I'm like, you guys are missing out, you need to go see, so.
Feel nice to listen down, maybe.
Good, I got you next.
Just a quick question with respect to the success now, we can say it was successful. I'm sure that this is something we're gonna keep doing, so, I'm sure we'll kind of hit the ground running for next year early, because we, have a little bit more leverage with respect to success, like measurable success from one year to the next. Did anyone get feedback from the actual East Indian communities?
Oh, they're on the committee.
They're on the committee.
They oversee this event, and we do not take the lead on this.
Okay.
They're not.
Do you think there's gonna be we're able to have more engagement with respect to like dancing, musicians, maybe artisans and makers selling like cultural items and things like that?
In terms of bringing more out, you mean?
Yeah, like to maybe expanding it to just celebrating the culture like as a whole, every part. And two, have the two restaurants downtown, like fingers crossed, if there's you know.
They were involved, and so we definitely made sure that the three Indian restaurants downtown were invited to, were able to participate hugely, and Cosmetic, which is our newest one, really went above and beyond. They were selling, pre-selling food boxes for $5 each, which is a fantastic deal. And we sold over, I don't know my numbers, but over 130, I want to say, pre-sale, plus day off sales. So they killed it. Band 3 as well, it's fantastic. They did boxes as well, pre-sold. And then day off, they had a little table, they were selling food. It was really engaged. We did have a number of vendors, which we had none last year. So this year, I want to say we had about 4 or 5 vendors, plus our sponsors were there. So we definitely had a much fuller street, which was nice.
It'd be great if we're able to grow it like more everywhere.
Yes, the challenge is gonna be location,
Yeah.
right? So with Holy being quite messy.
Yes, for sure.
We can't exactly do that for City Street, because otherwise the businesses will not be so happy. And we have to have a clear traffic flow for pedestrians without getting covered in color and water. So that's what we've always done in this parking lot. Easy to contain, it's easy to clean up, and the parking lot owner actually gives us space for free, which is very generous of them. There is some feedback from the committee with regards to the location. Typically, Holy is, it's celebrating new life in the beginning of the spring festival typically, but it's usually with a green background, right? So the park or green space. It could be, but bear in mind, Montebello Park is just up better BIA, and it doesn't always bring the direct impacts for businesses. So we're currently exploring, so a lot of great organizations like Book Park who are interested in perhaps partner with us or taking over these initiative next year. So we're exploring lots of different avenues to make sure obviously it stays here, but where it's here in the vicinity to downtown.
Are we gonna get through like some plans to make it?
Sweet states.
Amazing, that's amazing. It's great that there was such engagement and that there's so much more room for people to grow and that absolutely like that.
Is there anything else we want to talk about for Holy? If we want to talk about signage at the end of closures, it's just like cover up the Archer stuff. Something bigger that's more promotional for whatever we have to do. Before after the event, because that was early voted.
And we did that last year with all of our downtown promenade ones. It's just we've lost that, unfortunately, right? So it would be an added increase because we'd have to probably create new signage per event.
I was gonna say the best green space that we have in our catchment area is a city hall.
The lawn?
Hey, could we do it there?
So I'm just gonna remind everyone there is construction about to happen.
Yeah,
So I don't think it will be done. by next
we
year.
don't currently have a park in our catchment area. Really sucks.
Well, there's technically like Iowa Park is a little bit of a park, but it's like literally we do a little like.
But really, even if we extended like that to Montebello, like we still might not see that return.
Yeah.
People, like, people think it's downtown already, or if we grant, we didn't do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, so,
I'm good.
well, I mean, that it was still, the benefit is we were able to keep the street closures very close, small. So that I heard no negative feedback, even people who were inside would say that have a great time, as I talked to. But it didn't travel super far. And that's fine, we can still do great, fantastic things, and not everyone benefits from everything all the time. I didn't see any traffic from it. I mean, especially covered paid, I'm not sure. Very specific, but I still think it's a great. It doesn't have to specifically benefit me to, well.
And I will say, the feedback that I did receive with regards to the location, people felt it fit in the East End really well, because the East End has a lot of very strong cultural components, things like that. So they did, and the East End, let's just be honest too, unfortunately, the streetscape isn't the greatest in the East End. And they don't have as much attention always as some of the other areas, the rest of flower beds and all that kind of stuff. So it was really, I think, special and important to give them this attention. And it really did fit them.
I think what you're saying, even to like benefiting us that day, I think bringing safety and joy to our streets is going to bring them
more people down.
Huge, right? So they talk, like, oh, it was like totally safe. It was awesome. I think that event is gonna grow down our streets.
And it's publicity too, right? The fact that, for example, you know, we had some negative press the last few months by a certain author that was, I think, named around the table. Well, you should see the article he wrote about Hope. Like, he was beaming the whole time he was there, loved the event, he got really great press coverage. That's me as an institution.
That's how we get done.
Yeah.
Anything before we take on block party?
No, we can move to block party. That's okay.
Okay, right there. So do you have anything to mention about this specifically?
The block party,
Yeah.
I do just want to say, so as we know, in the Friday, Saturday, the road closure. We are still working on securing as many sponsors as we can, if anybody has contacts or interests. We are also looking for volunteers, if anybody is available, specifically on the 15th. Please, we'd love to see our board members out at our events. We're also looking for people to, and we'd love to see board members in this position, for just a quick, hey, the next band is this. And feel free to use it as a bit of sales pitch. Hey, I'm Jen from Little Chiefs, and you know, we're really excited to be here. I sit on the board, and the next band is this. So if anybody's interested in doing those intros, please let me know. And we can
Is that good? Wonderful.
So the stages, there's one at Queen and St. Paul, there's one at Summer Street on James Street, and then there's one in the East End.
Because I'm gonna be at South James that day, but like, I probably could volunteer for a role outside, but if I should probably on station too.
Yeah, that would be
Right.
great.
I could do that.
Thanks.
What date?
July 15th.
Further question with respect to activities that we're having. I noticed that very prevalent by saying the East End has always had an inferiority complex, unfortunately, not enough that happening. And I noticed that Garden City Arena, the next time or not. Robin, is that up for demolition?
Yes.
Has the city indicated what they may be using it for?
No, we have no plans, as far as I know, but demolition has been completed at 320 Geneva. And then next is the rest. So it should start by end of July, I think.
I would ask to keep us informed because there's a very good excuse that now the East End, they have some promotion of what goes on there. I know they've been talking to the Central Fire Hall, and some other things. But just keep us informed. It is a significant piece of property and there's gonna be a nice, something nice that's gonna go on. So we would like to be part of it. Keep us informed.
No, it's just at that.
No, but it's free. It's free. Montebello Park's free.
Yeah, I would suggest as well for the downtown, just on the development aspect, is that there will be a report coming back to council. I hope it's September, regarding municipal creation of the municipal development corporation. Which means that be able to have actually a team of people, organization, separate corporation, city, to work on developments and city development properties and how to best utilize them. Cost.
To which I would like to have a discussion.
Absolutely. But it may be something, if you're supportive of such a thing, which many successful municipalities have a bias. There are certain people in council who do not support it. They prefer to have one person dealing with all of our real estate who does it part-time. Not that I'm biased.
Now,
He from
now
the
we've heard-
development corporation, but it may be something you want to keep in thinking about or, but I will certainly keep you informed about what's happening. There's with that.
Question on, is there any discussions, like obviously the GM property is public, is owned by a private individual. For public lands such as the one that will be vacant now when the arena is gone. Is there any talk about, kind of like what Byron was just saying, mentioning about creating more green space in some of these businesses?
So the GM lands, former GM.
No choice in that.
That they're part of the secondary, Ontario Street Secondary Plan has started, and so the community, specifically the neighborhoods surrounding that, have a say and are part of the advisory committee, so we don't know what will go there, we don't know what could go there, so we're still remediating, so there are opportunities certainly for green space and other things like that.
But is green space maybe being discussed also for Alzheimer's? Like,
No.
no, okay.
I was just at eighty James, it looks like they're taking over a lot of the courtyard of the public library.
Just 2050.
Just up to that little,
There actually, if you look, there are 4 cross marks that you can see on the sidewalk, so when you get to the last
Oh,
one, that's what those.
okay, cool. Then
Some of
I-
it will remain green space, but they purchased that from the city.
It's
And
like-
yeah, and thank you for saying so. But that money will be going towards the Civic Square.
That's happening, right,
That
yeah.
will happen in some format or another. She'll all want to be involved.
Well, yeah,
Just square the property.
nah, this is more for street space sustainability, but I could say it now. I suppose, we reached out to the city about that Jane Street, because we knew that there was something coming, but we hadn't really heard what, so we were concerned that our road was gonna be ripped up, but we didn't know when, and all these things. And it seems that there's, an EA that's gonna be happening, and which I'm assuming will be like, there'll be like public room for suggestions coming
Oh,
up.
yeah, it will be a fully public, it'll be really similar to the Ontario Street section.
Perfect, great.
It'll be online.
Great, awesome. So if anyone, especially my James Street counterparts like that, should be able to sue, and there will be opportunity for us to be involved in that process.
And the demolition on that ADA is to start next.
Wow.
And they have, they will not, it will not be a similar situation to Carlisle Street, which with closures, they are utilizing the old police station parking lot. They've leased it for the 2.5 years. And that's where they will do all of their staging.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. At least the parking lot would be used for,
Staging, for all the staging, the equipment.
that's too bad.
How-
Next year, I didn't figure that out yet.
It's like, we use this program for events.
Absolutely.
That vacant building at Church and William. Do we know what happened to that one?
Well, it's supposed that it is being, currently they only have a permit to remove all of the asbestos contamination. So they have a demolition permit, there is no building permit that's been issued, there's been no site plan agreement, none of that stuff. But the fact that it's happening is supposed to. So hopefully the installation will stop by.
Hopefully, thank you.
Rachel, you have nothing else for block break?
Just one thing before Friday, I did just want to do one quick follow-up for surveys, just a huge thank you to those who were able to go door to door and get those surveys done from businesses, I really do appreciate that. I believe there may be a couple people who have not yet been able to go door to door with their surveys. Thank you, Brian, I appreciate your honesty. If anyone else needs support or has not submitted completed surveys back to me, if I can please just encourage you to do so. If you're not sure if your surveys have come in or not, I know there was a link shared in the agenda for today, but I also have the list here, so if you want, I can just pull it, take a look, and see if we've got them in or not. That would be great.
That's not bad. After this,
We're ready?
while we're doing.
I
All right, that's great. We have one for weeks. In that case, street hazing sustainability, the agenda.
Other than what Katie just mentioned, I'm not sure how much there is to discuss. I can't recall when we left off, actually, now that I'm saying that. I know that we're still looking into an approach to large garbage pickup. discovered through some digging that waste management hasn't really been, part of certain city plans, which creates a little bit of a hiccup for us. I don't know where the city thought the Shelburne was maybe going to go, as we grew. And so, we're trying to see how to approach that. I am waiting to talk to Peter, who's head of garbage. I did mention to Josh the other day that, I don't know if anyone has had an opportunity to go on to the regional website for large garbage pickup, either for your home or for your business. But I think it might be an easy fix with respect to large garbage pickup, because I think it's the narrative that might be incorrect. So when you type in your address, a drop down will come and say that you are available for large garbage pickup. So maybe at Robin's house, which is just outside of Attachment, she's able to have large garbage pickup. But if she owns a store on St. Paul Street, it will all of a sudden drop down and say, you are not eligible for large garbage pickup. And I think that people might just be stopping right there. They don't read any of the stuff for the fit, which tells you to call Miller Waste Management Systems and whatnot. So I think that maybe it's something simple, like when you type in your address, your residential address, it says you are available for large garbage pickup through the Niagara region, which is in Miller Waste. Okay, so that's part of the contract. And then if you type in your business methodology, and it says, instead of saying you're not eligible, it says you are eligible for large garbage pickup through Miller Waste Management Systems. Please call this number. So,
So Jen, that is the department that I used to work for at the region, like that would be
Amazing.
to update that website.
Amazing.
Like I can email that.
that would be amazing.
That would save so much.
I was waiting to have a conversation with Peter, but I think that would be fantastic, because I really think it's that simple.
Yeah.
I think it's that simple, because obviously if you live downtown, you probably don't have a Ford F-150 with a hitch and a trailer. So I think that it's maybe a little bit more achievable if you just tell everybody that they're available for large garbage pickup, that this is the means under which you are available.
Yeah, so let's try something that you
Yeah.
can see.
Yeah, it might be that simple.
Yeah.
Sorry, Robin.
No, I just wanted to make a request.
100%. Let me write this in my pen.
No. I spent the day a few weeks ago with downtown Ron cleaning up garbage.
Thank you.
No, that was fun. But the request I would make is if you could encourage neighbors and businesses to choose to put food waste on the street, to not do that, please, because it goes from a one-person job to a three-person job.
Yes, it does.
So we came across many bags of food that had been left on the street overnight that were then ransacked, as well as birds and other wonderful wildlife that torn them apart. And it literally went, first off, it's not just one person, and it's one person who has to pick that up, which shouldn't have to, but it just adds to the length of things that have to be done downtown, and it takes them away from a lot of the other stuff, so.
Donnelly Restaurants,
Sorry,
Donnelly restaurant situation there?
yes. As well as residents who live above. There were quite a few residents that apparently find it okay to put their kitty litter into the city flower beds for the crews to clean up. Which
I
was
think it's
also,
just like easy, right? Like sometimes walls and having a couch in the back.
yeah, it may be, but sure.
Not for us.
Yeah, yeah.
Then it's like, so think about it.
If just as a small request,
And we have been.
I could ask that you let people know to not do that, because the guys on the cruise are already dealing with more than anyone should ever have to, so that.
I can't stress enough how long we've been working on this and focusing on communicating to building owners, residents and businesses what the schedule is. Unfortunately, I think there's a little bit of a disconnect with respect to that chain of communication, and finding is difficult.
It is.
Um,
It's nearly impossible.
It is nearly impossible, and because believe me, we've hashed out enough details on that than I care to ever revisit. But we need an efficient system, which we just don't have. And it creates a tremendous amount of work, like even just say with the large garbage pickup. I mean, I know I've given some stats in a couple of other meetings with respect to that, because they have had in the 2-week interval of last September, I think I mentioned it in the last meeting, where they had the regular contract garbage with Miller. And within a 2-week window, the city crew had to pick up 200 bags of garbage that did not fall within the schedule. So we've already been discussing that the schedule is probably not working. If you look at it, you can kind of tell that it is not working. It doesn't really make sense in certain regards, but then we maybe need to amalgamate things like organic garbage and organics to be in a section, but then the trucks need to access those sections because people are just not listening. Regardless,
So that's my question. Do we have organics downtown? We do, right?
So you need to sign up for it.
Okay.
Because we have a state handful of businesses that are signed up for green bin pickup.
What does that entail to sign up?
You need to get a green bin, basically. The reason a number of people don't sign up is because either the green bins get taken, and then you gotta buy a new one. The other reason is storage, where you're gonna fit, and if you're a restaurant, most of our restaurants don't have storage at the front where the garbage is picked up, so it means they have to try through this green bin through their restaurant. So it's not that easy, and then there's cleaning, a lot of our guys don't have back access, they only have front access, they don't exactly want to sit there and clean maggots up their green bin.
Yeah, so that's because we need to put ours out and got a little sticker on it that said like, we don't do green bin pickup. What do you mean? So then the man came and all that. The second thing, question about, whatever, I agree. Well, it's not that difficult to pick up schedule, but my brain also has a hard time like keeping track of what's when. But I wonder if in the interim, like a literature drop to leave it this weekend. Yeah.
So the region did that last year, a very diligent, comprehensive drop. I'm sure is quite costly and whatnot too, to keep printing these things and go door to door and everything and still have the same response. It's definitely something we can raise again to or the city of streetscape.
Yeah, I guess that would be through, like, we couldn't do it literature problem. We don't have enough drop them off at it.
We might be able to do a partnership with the region and the city with respect to just doing that.
And like volunteer with it, I would have to go door to door to be like,
Right. But with respect to organics, like Rachel had mentioned, there's all of these cascading set of reasons, which I'm sure you can appreciate, which is one of the reasons why it's exploring where we could potentially put an amalgamated green bin where a truck can actually access it appropriately. Because sometimes those green bins become a little bit large, like they're a little larger than just our regular one that we have. Yeah, so it's a bit of a broader conversation because some of the arms of those trucks lift very high.
Yeah.
So it's a whole logistical thing. And of course, if Miller has those trucks, I'm not sure, but we're waiting to hear from Peter. We're gonna have a couple more things to discuss on the next year.
Anything, Stephen?
Yeah, I was just gonna say exactly what she said, and like, I would be volunteer to like drop those bins off, be like, hey, using. I think it's just becoming like how we're trying to get, bikes driving down here. I think it's just gonna be like, this is the new way of living, let's do this as a community, but I also understand as a restaurant, like how it could. They have to walk through it, there's a lot of,
Stephen?
So I'm wondering what we're talking about. Is what we need is a higher level of service. and service needs to be restructured in terms of thought. And high level of service means cost. Is there a way, and you know, municipality will nickel and dime themselves to death. Is there a way to create a blanket cost to the downtown for waste pickup? And just up the rate to give them excellent waste pickup. Whatever that is, finance it, what does it cost, charge the downtown. Charge the owners. Is there a way?
But then you're gonna have the.
Yeah,
Why am
well,
I
I-
getting
you know-
charged as a restaurant? I'm just saying.
Okay, so when I walk downtown, it's like a pigsty, too many nights. So I don't know how that impacts your business, but it certainly keeps me away from your business and your business, because I don't like walking in a pigsty. So my sense is if we're get a comprehensive package, cost is the issue. Deliver part of the reason all these ideas don't get expanded upon or thought about, because everybody's trying to do it on a nickel.
Well, so just so you know, Stephen, we've been working now for quite a bit of time on putting together, along with the tree report and benches, a comprehensive report for underground garbage, which would potentially download those costs to developers. I don't really want to get into that today, because that's a really large discussion. If anybody wants to join the streetscape sustainability meeting, I'm sure Rachel or Kat can send the information to join. That's where we're having those discussions, because we have, gosh, you know, and I look at this stuff all the time. I think it's 3 more years left with our contract with Miller Waste Systems. So we really don't have a lot of latitude with respect to even having conversations, because it will literally fall on the city's bill tab, and the city doesn't have a tab for that. That's it. That's already kind of been water under the bridge with respect to money spent on that is taken care of. But we can definitely set ourselves up for success to execute on certain things in the next even year. We just are trying to put the right heads together and have the proper approach with presenting the, not just information, but actual data and working real world examples showing that this would be incredibly effective for our area, and potentially creating a pilot project for St. Catharines downtown that could, the region is our, Peter's already mentioned, be a phenomenal pilot project to see if we can roll this out for the rest of the Niagara region. So fingers crossed on what kind of traction we can make, but that's a really large discussion for.
I have David, Rachel, if she wanted to respond, and then Katie.
I think we need to have a more coordinated effort and understanding. Most businesses realize that a lot of individuals don't. St. Paul Street, King Street has one service, Church Street has another service. And the levels, who complains to what, just so happens this weekend, we had somebody drop 8 or 9 garbage bags right in our little cart and in the front. Now, is that going to be a city responsibility? Is it the region that carries out the waste disposal? And I must say, and Robin, you can take this back, I find people in the region are very adversarial.
Yes,
Twice.
they are.
I have had 3 occasions where I have called, and from Church Street, from City Hall to Ontario Street, it's missed Thursday nights. And I have a young lady tell me, I don't know what I'm talking about, it's not on the schedule. And rather than argue with us, I've got paper in front of me, that everything that was agreed upon, that it's, I think last night was finally picked up. But it's got to be coordinated with the understanding that restaurants and parts of James Street, King Street, and St. Paul are different from other parts of James Street and Church Street. But it's all downtown to them that collect it. So I think more comprehensive, I won't say more thought, but more comprehensive thought in what we are going to demand from of those that are gonna supply the services in the future.
I absolutely implore for anyone who's interested about this to come to the streetscape and sustainability meeting, because we probably won't present anything until we've had a little bit more movement forward, which will probably be a couple number of months.
Richard, do you?
Jen did a great job. This one.
Okay.
I just thought that I feel like the downtown already has an increased garbage pickup schedule compared to the rest of the region. Which like, whether that's enough is to be determined. However, in the meantime, until we figure that out, I feel like there's a disconnect between landowners and people renting and understanding like that. So if there's a way we can try and figure out how to communicate better to residents directly or get building owners to actually tell the residents what to do. And then also to your point, garbage being left, there is a specific illegal dumping line that you call. And maybe it's utilizing that more for garbage that is clearly not supposed to be where it's supposed to be, and it's like bags of garbage, because they look and look at them, and there are also opportunities for them to look into it and find individuals,
They have definitely tried that. They were going through the garbage to get names and information to find, which became very next to impossible. But the problem is that, just like David mentioned, I'm not great about garbage, and I live on top of Little Chico. I can walk my garbage to Foodology or to Wandering Spirit and dump it there.
Yeah.
And the city can't, or the region can't look at you and say, Wandering Spirits, you put your stuff out, or Foodology, or the boot shop, or whatever, and find it. Right? Because you're like, I used my garbage at the right time. People like, just like, I mean, that's the perfect example, what you just experienced, David, where people are just dumping it wherever they feel like it, number one, but they're also using like city facilities and the Meridian Center facilities that have the large dumpsters. They're catching them red-handed, contractors, all sorts of people with heaps of garbage, dumping them, timing, knowing exactly when the city and regional garbage are coming. They know when they're coming to the hour, and they wait 30 minutes and then dump it in there. They're waiting and catching. And then it becomes very hard to
yeah, I'm wondering, but like at the end of the day, it's illegal boundaries. Which you want to mitigate how much they have to do that, but there's like a specific number so they can keep the amount of complaints. They know, I know because I've seen that on the other end, like they keep a log of what areas, like where they need to take for public bids, stuff like that. So using that proper channel is helpful.
And people are calling, and the city and the region are literally doing an unbelievable job at picking up this garbage. I can't even tell you how hard these people work. Like they're rock stars.
I have Amy, our.
Yeah, I was just going to address the like extra charging, and I get that like the overview makes sense, but like when you come down to it, you're an actual retailer downtown, like we sweep up the bar mess, we clean everything, our patrons are charged parking fees. So having the retailers doing the extra cost and kind of sweeping it away from maybe the late night restaurants and the bars should, have some of that as well.
I'd love to join the garbage conversation on a committee level. Would actually really like that. We produce a ton of trash as a retailer. Our contingency point is that we actually start loading vehicles of bars and hauling them out of the city. That's our fastest way to deal with our trash currently. I've had other problems with trash that isn't ours, like bags full of raw meat. That have just been problematic. Even calling them in sometimes still doesn't get rid of it because the system is overwhelmed. But on a whole, trash is a massive problem. And green bins, although I do like green bins, they're very expensive, they're costly. We go through a lot of them. We have a lot of them. I'm not going to say it's the best program running, especially when we find out that the green bin truck is going to the landfill. I don't really understand the point.
I don't realize that.
Yeah, it's like recycling, right? I know from our other store, come usually second week of November, the cardboard stops going to the recycling plant and it only hits the landfill. So we don't do cardboard recycling anymore. We just have it go in the dumpster. I know it sounds bad, but it's going to the same place anyways. The garbage is cheaper than cardboard.
It is.
So I don't have a problem paying to have things recycled, provided it be recycled. They're just going to the landfill.
It is a fact. A lot of people don't realize that. Actually, there was a wonderful example of, there was, something happening at the marketplace event. And these people were selling like coconuts. And they were giving the meat or whatever and taking the coconut shell and putting it into these, organic bins. And one person that was at the event took their paper plates and put it into that coconut shell bin.
Yep.
Those bins, all of them full of coconut shells and one paper plate went to the landfill. As soon as there is one piece of non-organic waste in an organic waste bin, the entire bin goes to the landfill. It's not like all. But what happens is that when they're picking up the city truck, you could have been super diligent, or Byron could have been super diligent, and it's only flower cuttings. But then if they go to the restaurant and there's something in there, it's all going into the same truck, so it ends up almost always going into, which is a whole separate conversation, but I'm pleased if you want to know more information.
So we do get the calls, because the cellophane in the truck, when they call us, we know it's our cellophane. It's a clear, specific sheet of cellophane we use for cut flowers.
Right.
And we'll get the call at certain times, you're like, hey, got a couple pieces of cellophane in here, you guys have to do a better job. So I know they check, that's for sure.
I mean, aside from the enhanced garbage schedule, the serious logistical problem we have, because we have two different types of businesses downtown. The restaurants operate with different hours of structure than our retailers. And any hot waste food, organic garbage can get gross very promptly. And if you can cater to the restaurants and make all those garbage time slots after what they close by the morning, they're still sitting out overnight, but it is either the middle of the night or early. But that doesn't work for our retailers, because that means if they put the garbage out at the times they're closed, it's gonna be sitting out for days. So.
So what we're hearing is a variety of issues. And I think what you talked about, and David mentioned, we need a comprehensive review of the various needs in the downtown. And we've got 3 years to make that or have that comprehensive view, since contractors coming up. I guess I just encourage the comprehensive view and look for the financial way to do the best job. You know, I guess this may be a different kind of deal, but when I was renting soccer fields in Oshawa, I charged the highest rate for the best fields, and people lined up to pay the rates for the best fields. So if people want good service, they will pay. And maybe it's different for retailers, and maybe it's different for offices, but a comprehensive package is what I'm hearing is required. And it'll take a lot of thinking. And I'm sorry, but communication people are just focused. You know, like we'll hand out, and look, please hand out the stuff, but don't get disheartened, because people are just awful at that stuff. They just will not do what you ask them to do. It's awful. Anyway, I'm done.
If you have an update on marketing.
Yeah, short and sweet. The posting of the communications support closed, and Kat is going to start interviews next week, which is really exciting and will be very helpful. And then we have our first comm strategy meeting coming up on July 10th. There's a couple of us who signed up for that subcommittee, and if you're interested, please let myself and Kat know. Yeah, anything else? No.
We have a lot of-
For 130. Is it diffused?
It'll be a fun interview.
Everybody wants to work with that. I don't blame them.
Okay, so governance met when I was at a convention, so.
I can, there's not too much to update. We are currently working on a matrix, which we, will send out to the survey to the board. So the matrix is just a way for us to track our demographics on our board so that we can see where those gaps are in terms of, obviously demographics, types of business, location of business, those kind of things. So we're just looking to gather this data. Similar items to what were in the full application for the board position. Just we need to know what we've got to see what those gaps are, like I said. So I will be sending that survey out. And then we did do a small update on the board vacancy policy, which I believe was just in terms of if a board member is no longer with the business or property owner of the location in our BIA, then we provide them a set amount of time to get a sponsor in order to stay on the board. So it's not an automatic kickoff. We give them a grace period so that they do have the ability to stay where as a person and is selected by a membership board to do that. And then the other piece that I'm clearly not going in order for, the board member zones / block champion piece. This is kind of an idea that Jen raised a long time ago about block champion. And then when we did our market tour a couple months ago, the organizer of the St. Helens Farmers Market sits on the Farmers Market Board of Ontario, and they have this model where each board member covers a certain zone or a certain area, and they reach out to the farmers market in those areas. So there's this hands-on piece, which is really, I thought, really cool. So I was thinking, wouldn't it be neat if as board members, we kind of have our own areas, so to speak, and this is your block, and you get to know, the businesses in that section, you can help share feedback. It's just, the BIA is huge, we've got over 700 members, and for us to take that all on ourselves, it's really hard to reach everyone, it's really hard to keep up with those personalized relationships. Whereas if we can maybe split it up a little bit into different sections and have board members assist by becoming kind of the leader, so to speak, or head of that block, so to speak, that will, I think, really help to disseminate and communicate with each of those members. The hardest part of that is figuring out the block and who goes where and all that stuff. So if anybody is, that floats your boat, so to speak, please let me know. It's like overwhelming for me. Or if you guys are like, I really want this block, or I cannot do this block, please let me know so that I can take that into account.
Basically like the councilors for the city.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wasn't that savvy, I just called it block parent.
Rachel, for the revitalization roadmap update.
Yeah, so this is, was mentioned previously. So this is a really exciting piece that we got free through a door prize. So it's worth $92,000. So I really want to make sure that we take full advantage of it. So in your package, you will see that I'm going to our oven schedule. So it is coming up really quick. These 3 days are the main hit point. So July 31st, August 1st, August 2nd. The main ones, and I will send these out in calendar invites and everything, but we have a steering committee with a number of board members on already, and a few staff and a few community partners and so forth. So we have a steering committee that's helping to disseminate and organize all of this piece. We will obviously be wanting board members input. So the first initial piece is there is a survey that is in your package too. Kindly, please complete the survey and either give it back to me today. It will be obviously going online. We'll be pushing it out to our members. We want, they hope to have 5% back from the community that they're in. I kind of was like, they're going to get over 7,000 back from the Catharines, just so you know. So they're aware of that, but we want to get as many as we can with really great feedback. So please complete these surveys because that really impacts what they come up with, right? Any questions on that?
Question. Well, one question for the calendar invites. Would it be possible to send those out as soon as possible?
Yeah. Totally.
When other things are coming up. Second, the survey.
I noticed it too.
Share.
Yeah, so I've got most of their stuff in almost. I'm hoping by the end of today, so as soon as they send me the graphics and copy. you can
Sure,
share that.
and in resident, like, it's residents, they have.
Yeah, yeah, great. What with the,
Is quote ready?
no,
Okay.
Did we make this?
You know, it's
St. Catherine's is spelled wrong, I mentioned it already in that.
they started it.
also, I want to reach you two questions. Do you live in St. Catharines? Yes or no? Do you live in St. Catharines? Leave an answer.
Why do you live in St. Catharines?
Oh, sorry, why do you live in St. Catharines? But I'm like,
Answer that question.
They
yeah,
have it spelled right on the search.
On this, just not.
Spelled incorrectly on the
Oh,
timeline.
yeah, that. That's not how, but that's just. Yeah, the guys are doing it from the state, so when they did spell check.
It only becomes.
Yeah.
St. Catharines.
What was it, so I don't know if they can make any changes now. The survey was sent out to the steering committee, we did make a couple of little changes, but what was the issue with those two questions, sorry?
it just seems a little redundant. After like read the whole survey, the.
So I
why
will be
do you live in
honest,
St. Catharines, But
the PDF version sucks, it's way better when you can do it online. Because then if you went to note, you live in St. Catharines, you're not gonna get the majority of the others,
okay,
right?
that makes sense.
So it kind of auto populates, but
Probably majority of them.
yeah, so the challenge with CDS is they have to put all of the questions, so. I just figured no offense to people here, but it would be easier to get your surveys done if I gave you a verdict.
Smart it is.
Oh, just ask that, you want these now, that you want?
Sure, that would be amazing. Yeah.
If you want, we have to show that again.
If you get mine, drop off.
You can drop it anytime, yeah, and I should, well,
Oh, my, but.
That's it for my questions. I'm looking for
Survives.
what was that, sorry?
I'll say, three.
I love it. They check it.
Rachel, did you already cover the positive social media feedback aspect?
Yeah, that is funny. I do have two other quick updates, if that's okay, that are really important. So the first one is lights on St. Paul Street.
Yes, I had that question. Yeah.
So I had a meeting this morning at the city, so, July is when they start installation for the lights going across St. Paul Street. So there will be intermittent road closures in the short section, probably like 3-4 days at a piece in each section, as they slowly move from Willing Street to, Geneva.
Let's do activations, road closure. Set up a.
They still don't know that is, nice idea.
Every single light strand is having a celebration.
Yeah. I have a question about. In the James Street alley, was that us?
That was gorgeous.
Yeah,
What happened? Yeah.
no, they switched them out for like,
Ivy.
yeah, they're beautiful.
Where is that? What's the city? I think.
Who did it?
I think the city does.
I don't know, whatever, like fairy.
Yeah. We had people
I
just down all of.
thought that was done by-
That's my favorite alley now.
Teachers.
It's not like-
Yeah, I know, it wasn't us, that's what I'm saying.
So we didn't finance it, yeah, the city uses an outside, those are a private company, but,
Like the Fae came in and decided.
That's, I know, it's literally.
but I'm pretty sure they got paid to do it, I doubt they were just coming out there.
And
They
it looks,
may have.
it's great, I'm not just.
Every time I've brought someone downtown, it changes.
And then the other thing I did want to bring to everyone's attention, and I apologize, I don't have much information about it right now, but there is a phone-in town hall being organized by the mayor's office. So as I know more, I will keep you posted.
There's a one.
A phone-in town hall.
Sorry, you said phone.
He's had that for a while.
Oh, how,
No, this one is specifically about, safe spaces. And homelessness and addiction, not in downtown, it's across the city, whole city.
I will keep you posted. If the phone-in town.
You're gonna get a call, you're gonna use a resident, you get a call, says, tomorrow, Amber's having the town hall, about whatever. And then it will give you a number, or you can press 1 if you want to join, and then the next day, they will phone you. Be part of it.
What I have, am I supposed to have gotten one of these before?
Previous mayor did that.
Yeah, we have done them for budgets, we'll do them for budgets, but usually just around budgets.
I've never received one, so is there a way to make sure that you're.
We'll go over on social, I'll have all the information, you can go added.
Great.
Or all the restrictions. I don't know the details of it other than the staff, apparently.
Is it only open to residents? Like, what about it?
The only thing for the administration, do we have any data on the reduction in number of patios who participate in the programs?
Significant, especially on street patios.
It's too expensive. Just won't do
Yeah,
it.
I've only noticed like one restaurant.
I have no restaurants.
There's
Bullet.
Ballet, yeah.
They're the only ones, and then there's, yeah.
I don't have an engineer on hand, so,
And I'm wondering.
yeah, like 5K.
I think they're doing that on
There's
purpose.
like for more than a patio.
Yeah.
It's just a drawing.
It's standardizing, we had to standardize across the city. There, you can't have different patio requirements for different parts of the city, so it just standard.
Right. But it was kind of like last during COVID, right? So then they're probably used to that and then all of a sudden they're like, now we have to do.
The city made it easier. They wanted to support business.
They still want to support it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is,
They were maybe a patio.
and they're
I
not,
can't afford one, so I can't get the drawing, so I couldn't even afford the fee.
but they're not also making it, right? Like, everybody.
So you standardize the patio, you'd be willing to waive the patio fee for some businesses?
We standardized the structures themselves. We needed standards for accessibility, because most of the patios last year were not accessible.
But how about most of the bathrooms in downtown St. Catharines? None of them are accessible for restaurants.
They will have to be,
I mean, buildings are
in the
old.
next 2 years, you will have to have an accessible.
I don't, when you go
Like,
anywhere downtown,
well,
like,
it's-
I always. think
Street patios disproportionately affect downtown.
Yeah.
Because the Penn Center can have an 80-person patio outside a corporation like Boston Pizza, but we are screwed downtown. Like, we have no choice. We don't have a sidewalk to go onto that gives us the room that also allows for.
Right,
accessibility.
so there's like the one side does it, but the other.
Oh,
side
yeah,
doesn't.
the newer developments near,
Hamburger.
Hamburger,
They are-
they have the standard on the sidewalk, but if you don't have that,
I see.
you only have the option to go onto the street. So,
Right.
Well, and that does not even, it's not lost on the number of businesses that can't even get a permit after over a year downtown. That is stopping businesses while they pay rent, and so I can't imagine that absorbing an exorbitant cost like that, and you're not even really functioning.
So the,
It requires an engineer stamp that patio.
but that's not unusual.
So I'm just curious, that's a standardized patio, they just said here.
So there are organizations like, pop-up patios that can give you those engineer drawings, they will deliver the patio to you, lease it from them, it is not cheap.
The problem that I've heard from some organizations are getting into though, is that they wanted a patio this year and they were getting an engineer drawing that would mean it's major renovation and they had to think about. I think that's not true.
But I've also heard of certain businesses that cannot even apply for the patio permit because they can't even get their business license. So
That's a whole other part.
correct, but I think what it just sounds like is that there are a cascading set of situations
I've been in that situation.
that individuals, AKA business owners are grappling with on the daily, and no matter how many hoops they jump through, are not having any momentum forward to open their store or to open.
I would strongly suggest not contacting me, because I'm fine with it. But perhaps contacting other counselors around budget time when it comes to staff requests to hire additional staff.
Don't vote for the guys that don't want to increase the taxes.
Yeah,
Like it's,
if you would like more better services, we are, as a city, I will flat out say it, we are one of the lowest paid municipalities. People come to us and they leave because you can get paid more, better at other municipalities within the region. And so we have an incredibly hard time keeping staff. So I would strongly suggest,
so I,
with regards to service levels, talk to your counselors because they're the ones who are saying, no. I'm not.
I got hired in.
Yeah, I got a question.
Sure.
This is just. you
I
love
feel
it.
like I'm
Yeah, we love it.
You know, I get sure not.
We have to pay.
It's council like, all good.
The businesses that don't have accessible facilities.
Yep.
When this does all come to fruition, is there high utilization actually coming? Or is this gonna be one of those, we'll talk about the rug and talk to you in 10 years kind of scenarios, I guess?
So my understanding with the accessible Washington State, you probably know more than I, perhaps, no, okay. Is that it really is a directive of the province. Not the city saying you have to have accessible facilities in Washington, it's a provincial mandate, to meet accessibility. Act.
It's been coming for a long.
It's been coming for a long time.
I know as a retailer, I had to have an accessible door, obviously, for them to come in, so I think to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, so it will be something, I think it's 2026, 2027 when it comes into full effect, so people do have time, but
Are they putting it on the onus of the region or the cities?
still a pretty worthy question. I feel like it'll be the city, because we seem to get everything the province likes to not do, but no money for it, so.
So maybe, Rachel, something we can think about is engaging someone on our staff who could be a facilitator between businesses and city hall. I
Absolutely.
just had a conversation yesterday. I ran an application to the town of Lincoln for a way bigger project, and this guy did, he tried to do it on his own. And it kept running into, stubbing his toe. But no big mistakes, so if we had a facilitator, most people, most of the building inspector, most building inspectors lost, phones every day. I know it's money, but it'll save these guys time.
And I will say for now, if you speak to any business owner or property when this is issues, please connect them with me. Or forwarding them to me. Yes, sometimes it helps just having a date on something, so I can just do a quick reminder, hey, just following up on this.
Most of the staff.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
you said that the staff. are-
No, staff's trying to do a good job, we just don't have enough. Flat out, there are not enough.
I've talked to David about rationalizing salaries across the state. And getting the city managers together, and if we do the same as the region, it's just, the situation will change instantly.
We lost 2 fire inspectors.
For me,
Yeah, I can't, my cost of living, I've lost every single one, my relationship, everything's had stopped all over again.
But we lost 2 of them because Niagara Falls paid more. So you're living on the day there, I'm speaking Stephen.
Jen, I got one for you.
He's on 20 grand.
This, I guess, brings, this conversation brings me to the advocacy committee. Has that started up?
We've only had kind of a preliminary meeting, so I'm gonna be sending out a reminder or sending out a new invite, if any of you would like to.
I would love to join it because I think that if we're able to start to compile a knowledgeable group in the advocacy committee, this would fall, all of everything we're discussing would fall meticulously under that. So that we really have the voice of our members to go to the city versus the downtown association to the city, where we should really be advocating. And also, Joe is just wondering, if, just because of the survey, like us going business to business, and then, with respect to people that have or have not, or I guess more have not joined the subcommittee yet, because we've been directors now for like half a year. If it's possible to think about having like some type of housekeeping tab at the beginning of our meetings, so that we have a little bit of a check and balance to see who wants to join what committee if they haven't joined, who or how to get it work or when it's due, if we're waiting on stuff, or more so the staff is waiting for us to return paperwork. Or not even, they might have given the paperwork out and gone to see those people, but haven't heard back yet from those companies or businesses, so we maybe have to go back and collect that paperwork or go and ask the village. So I'm just wondering.
Before we adjourn, Robin, would it be useful for the next project to compile like the horror stories of trying to develop downtown? Like almost every single property I've talked to down the street in the areas where anything was trying to get going has had something. Like I had 8 months of delays because I was asking if I had a single or buy help or no, it's like.
If they can send that to me.
Yeah, like if you would.
We'll be able to put together a presentation, delegate the council. Yes, to it, so the more tangible examples I can give. What's that?
Have we just not been loud? I feel like, wow.
I can really hit a lot of just really like, give me your stories. And then-
Yes.
I think the big thing you need is that a lot of the retailers and the never really talk to each other because they're so busy and their head in.
That's true.
Right?
They're just trying to get.
So they're just trying to live, but the thing is though, what brought us out of COVID is that now we're all starting to talk to each other and realizing we're all in the same situation. And so now it's time to get out. Like I think it's like that fight back kind of time, like one of those, hey, now we're a team, I didn't realize you were doing this.
Well, and the thing that's making me even more worried about this is like, what, talking to the 88 King development, they were talking about wanting to bring in like a big name, coffee chain as a go out of the place. And I was thinking like, and I said to them, I said, well, not, I mean, obviously I'm biased in our industry, but I was like, why not a grocery store? Like you're putting in how many units, we don't have anywhere for groceries, why are we bringing chains down here? But if we can't get people to open their doors.
The idea of a grocery store would be epic.
Yeah,
So good.
for all of us, right?
Anyway, now the residents are coming down.
But like, for us to be able to stay open, we need to be able to be open at all.
We're a food desert downtown, and King Street Pantry,
Yeah.
might have open for how long, and cannot get,
They're on my list of course.
yes, where these are little things. Yeah, but just say, right now, like just say, Little Chief Co. is not trying to get a permit right now. But if we're trying to get a permit in 3 years, and these are problems, where we need these stories now, and we need to advocate for ourselves now, so that anyone who might want a permit in 5 years doesn't have these problems. Because if we're already having this cascading set of failures with current businesses with respect to permitting, no one's ever gonna meet their mandates to have a public restroom on a main floor or accessibility, whatever. And that also lends true to anybody in the future who's trying to open a business, when there's more condos down there.
I'm also really glad that we're on the same page, that like the staff in these departments are so incredible and so lovely, like they come in for coffee a lot, they're so helpful and answering questions, but they're just not enough resources for them, and not enough people, and it's not, so how to like keep that nuance in mind when we're critiquing that system and asking for the more resources, saying like the people there are doing great, we just need more of them. Yeah. And then we're on the same page.
Oh, Bart, and then I'll do.
Okay, so similar conversation for us, but just said over there. I'm just going to give a different industry example for a second, but there's a company called Out of Canada, they're an engineering company. The greenhouse industry has just flipped from what we were using over to Out of Canada, because we need an engineering company that understands our dynamic and the situation that we're in. So almost 85% of greenhouse in the Niagara region now use Out of Canada as the company. Just get it done. Otherwise, you're searching in the dark. I was just asked to see if there anyone downtown, obviously downtown would have more access, but particular companies that actually specialize in this, know the city and know what's going on, and maybe comprising a list of 2, 3, 4 engineering companies that actually do this on a daily basis. I don't know if you guys know KLS Engineering, but KLS Engineering is very good in farm. So they do a lot of farm structures and stuff like that, but typically anytime I use an engineering company for anything, I'm sure that they specialize in that field. I'm just wondering, like, can even the downtown association source these so that as a resource, people aren't scratching their head and we can say, look, these 3 companies actually know the city very well. They know the predicament a lot of small businesses are in, so that they can actually get something done. And when some things become repetitive, I'm going to use KLS Engineering for an example. They put up grain silos so often, so many times. All their engineering drawings are pre-stamped. They're just conditioned out and paid for them. They're very cheap, $200. I would think that we come into a scenario here where engineering them start to become cheaper and cheaper based on the fact that they just keep redoing the same thing over and over.
I also think there needs to be some sort of like ability for the language to engage in these processes, especially when it doesn't involve an engineer drawing, to understand what is actually needed and not get thrown into different departments.
It makes a huge difference, sorry to you, Josh. In Barton Street previously, basically, I found a few connections in the way we can't check the list of things guys, because we're not allowed to make recommendations, just like the city isn't. But we can say our members recommend these groups. So if any of you guys have those recommendations, please send them my way. And then I can literally just use that wording, our members recommend these guys, because I agree with you, in Barton Street, that was key. A Toronto developer would come in with a Toronto engineer, they're, they sit on the shelf for years. And I literally had to go to them and say, you need to use a local engineering company, because they know how happens to work, and it's probably very similar here.
Maybe you do more.
No, I was just gonna say, I mean, I think when you're talking about certain areas, it's harder here in a downtown core because it's like you've got restaurants, you've got, you know, retail, you have all different things,
Bathrooms back,
right?
you know what I mean, like a front entrance way, I don't care if you're a restaurant, retail shop, office space, it's a front entrance.
But is it different people that you have to deal with?
No, it's all the same thing, this is what I'm saying, like.
Depending if it's retail or restaurant, you deal with the same people.
Well, the front entrance is the exact same thing, the bathroom's the exact same thing. I mean, it could depend on how much food receipts you have for serving how many.
Right, and capacity and like how many, so it's.
Yeah, but if you serve any food, you now have to have a fully accessible bathroom. That's just done,
A nice standard package.
yeah. Like,
There
I,
may be an architect that's on St. Paul Street. Yeah, that might be someone you want to talk to on a regular basis. They may or may not. Helped out the one and only.
Or
time.
okay,
Please keep in mind the municipal regulations do differ. The municipality has the right to, and this is where St. Catherine's have a problem, in addition to the planning act, the building code, decide that they implement their own. And they minimize some problems.
Would you like to hear the city official plan?
No comment.
but I know the municipality, oh, sorry.
Just before we adjourn, is there some sort of motion or like call, like, would it be the advocacy subcommittee? Okay, great. Leave it at that?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
I'd like to bring up one point if I may, and it's, I was gonna air it privately and throughout, but I find more and more people are having the problem in dealing with calling the city. There are more people that are put on hold. There are more people that I personally, and it came to my attention, people are waiting sometimes 15, 20, 25 minutes to put it on hold. You call the city of Niagara Falls, the city of Welland, what department you want, to put you through. There's a problem with this problem.
People are working, oh,
Well,
no, I know I emailed the city and I got an answer, really.
well, email, I talk to people calling the city. They're put on hold far too long than they should. And it wasn't to say anything, but I've had a number of people trying to deal with certain aspects, whether it's engineering, planning, building services, whatever. They can't get it through.
No, I,
It's not here.
partly lack of staff, partly.
I don't
But
know.
I said that on the side.
No,
Say that in my own side.
so
Is that on public record?
Pretty
Yeah.
recorded.
All right, negative motion to adjourn. All right, everybody, let's go.